Where's everybody at? Is it just me? Hooray! So yeah, this this is gonna be a slightly different episode of Recipes for Everything. As hey, it's just me, Chef Bolgg, uh, here doing Chef Bolgg and the Pirate Captain's Recipes for Everything. It's a little crazy of a weekend. I mean, I'm sitting in a house with no AC in Florida weather. Uh, I'm not sure what Loke's up to. Mr. Producer's still down and under the weather, and then the pirate captain is enjoying some shore leave. Um, and by that I mean he's not enjoying it at all. So it's just me today, and I'm just gonna, kind of wing it. I don't really have anything planned other than talk a bit. About my experience with D&D as a whole, and I think that I don't know if I have a unique perspective or if it's basically what other players have. In theory, everybody has their own unique perspective, but anyway, some quick news things first. So. Uh, First up, we've got the new covers for the Dungeons Master Guide and the Monster Manual. This is an article I found from Dungeons and Dragons, posted by the Mirror. Um, So the on the front of the Dungeon Master's Guide, which I wish I had the capability to put it up here, but I don't, unfortunately. I don't have that pulled up, but it's on the front. There's three characters that are classic villains. You've got Skilla and Warduke, and also Venger from the cartoon series, which I thought was really cool. You're bringing in characters from older editions, from older modules, and also something that was, a nostalgic thing for a lot of us, for the D&D cartoon back in the 80s. And I think it's cool that we're not getting just, Vecna and Tasha and all those others that are already heavily in the D&D 5e sphere, so that you're kind of trying to bring in those older players that maybe you have alienated, as we've said before on the show. But the art itself is really quite good. Which, looking at it, there's no way this is AI generated, which is good. Good on you for going back on that. Let's see. There was also Destiny. Destiny 2 is having a Dungeons and Dragons crossover with some D&D themed outfits, a beholder skin for the little guy there, and then you have the D&D emote where you're playing a lute or rolling a d20, which I think is awesome. The D&D TV series is no longer going ahead at Paramount Plus. Those of you who watch not recipes for damage rolls, know that Mr. Producer and Loke and I all have a particular view about the Halo TV series. And I guess the big problem is that Paramount didn't like the direction that this show was going. When the people who say the Halo show is good is saying this is bad, it's probably a good thing that we're moving away from it. Maybe somebody else, maybe Netflix, Amazon is killing it right now. Maybe they'll pick it up and give us a D&D series, worthy of adaptation. And it was something I was bringing up last night, is that there's basically two gleaming examples of the two different types of adaptation you can do. And that's the straight adaptation of The Last of Us, and then the continuation of lore of Fallout, and how those two have now set the example of what a video game alternate media can be. Back in the day, we had the comics and the books, but these are widespread streaming media that are available to a large general audience and are bringing new fans into the fold. I mean, we've talked about it on Damage Rolls, how insane the reception to Fallout was, how, Fallout 76 and Fallout 4 had massive influxes of players. Another thing is that Mike Merles, he spilled some tea in a post on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And it says, how to set difficulty classes in a game of D&D. DC 0, simple task, no real chance of failure. DC 10, good chance of success. DC 15, tough task. DC 20, really super hard. DC 25, players didn't bring snacks for the DM. And then DC 30, keeping a job at Wizards of the Coast. Well said, Mike. The layoffs and crap that's happening at Wizards of the Coast is not okay. And I don't know if that's a Wizards of the Coast decision or a Hasbro decision. I haven't been following it that closely, but it's a bad decision one way or another. These are people who have given their lives and their time to creating something that has brought more popularity to the game we all know and love than ever before. And you're throwing them to the curb, and that's not okay. It's not okay. So the alt cover for the Monster Manual is inspired by Baldur's Gate 3, obviously, because it was such a huge hit that, again, brought in a broader audience to D&D and was Game of the Year. We're getting the Mind Flayer on the cover of the on the alt cover of the Monster Manual, and the art itself is a little too clean. I really liked the alt covers for the Player's Handbook, Monster Manual, and DMG that came out not too long ago. Those were really, really well done. This one, the art isn't bad by any means, but compared to what we've gotten in the past, it's not quite up to snuff, in my opinion. By all means, in the comments, tell me what you think. Yeah, that was all the news that I saw. Which, my limited view, plus I work a full-time job. I'm trying to get another job, so I haven't had as much time to be in the sphere as I normally would, plus I'm worrying about the AC. But there are good things going on, and then there are very bad things, and we've talked ad nauseum about the state of D&D right now. And that leads me into my main topic, which is what D&D is to me and how I feel about the changes that are coming. I'm going to say this up front and be perfectly clear about it. If you do not like where D&D is going, you can always stay playing 5e. Nobody is going to stop you. If you don't like 5e, you can play 3.5. If you don't like 3.5, you can play second. If you don't like second, you can play first. If you don't like first, you can play OG. If you don't like OG, then it's not the system for you. But I have been playing since Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. My dad got me into it when I was very young. I played for a long time. Then in middle school, I kind of fell out of it. And then in high school, I picked it back up again with a group of friends. We would play DnD, Vampire the Masquerade, Robotech, Traveler, Marvel Superheroes. We'd play a bunch of different stuff. And also Magic the Gathering and other stuff during our lunch break. And can you imagine trying to run a campaign in the middle of a lunch break with that many different games? It was a fun experience, though, and it reignited my love. And then I got into college, and I just didn't have the time for it. I went to a couple of games while I was at Florida A&M University. I didn't gel well with the group. And then I got injured and had to come back home to the Tampa Bay area and kind of put it on the shelf for a long time while I focused on school. And then eventually I got it in my head that I wanted to play again. And at the time, living there was myself, Nigglewart, my dad, my mom, my sister, her husband, Baka, his best friend, who we will call the Crow, and my best friend, who we will call Plexington for now. My breast friend. And myself, Baka, Plexington, and Crow started a game with my dad, Nigglewart, running it. And that was, for 3 of them, the first time they had ever played. It was a reintroduction for me to older rules, because I had played 3.5 in high school, or 3.0 in high school, maybe some 2, and then rolled into an older edition my dad had made. I mean, he playtested for Steve Jackson and TSR back in the day, so he had access to all these materials, and he's got a box somewhere full of crap. The Arduin Gwenmar, and a whole bunch of other modules, things, and games from way back when. And he ran us through a campaign. Then we tried another system. And then I found the main group that we're with now at the game center we used to play at. And we just grew to be a family. And that, to me, sums up what I felt with D&D. D&D is a family thing. Because you do make lifelong friends playing this game. You get to know the best and the worst of people. And your life can change by meeting these people. So sorry to get all sappy and shit like that, but it really is, for me, the togetherness aspect of it. The sitting around a table, playing with your friends, having a good time, that I love the most about D&D. I've played in online games. I've cut back. I used to do it a lot, but I cut back a lot recently because I wasn't getting the same experience, and it was cutting into my time that I needed for adulting. But there was, I'm usually a player, because I get DM burnout very easily. So I used to run. When we first started playing 5e, we were playing in something called the Adventurers Guild with the show's friend, our friend James Austin with Tacitus Publishing. He ran an Adventurers Guild, not Adventurers League, not the league play. It was a guild set in his universe, the Chronicles of Baldrus, which he is releasing content for that. So check out Tacitus Publishing to get some of that content. It's really good stuff. But he reintroduced me to 5e. I had to wrap my brain around, well, not reintroduce me to 5e, reintroduce me to D&D, because I had to wrap my brain around, the new rules, the easier rules. Somehow the easier rules were harder than the old rules in the beginning. Now it's all second nature. That's where, my dad worked with Felix, who we brought into the fold, and then eventually the pirate captain showed up, and all the guys we played. Mr. Producer was a kid. Rava was a kid. My wife was, introduced to all of these people. And we became very, very close. But eventually that version of the guild stopped. And we played a couple of campaigns here or there, but then it came back that what people really wanted was that guild back. So that's what I tried to emulate. The problem is about 4 or 5 weeks into running it, I started to get major burnout. Where I couldn't come up with anything anymore. And I started just pulling out of my butt. Just complete missions rectally. I didn't have any. I had an A and a B, and how you got to A and B was completely dictated by what the party did. I rolled with the punches. And really it increased my improvisation as a DM by a whopping amount. I am a meticulous planner. All I would have to do is show some of my work I put into this Fallout game I'm about to run, to show that I'm a meticulous planner. Because for Fallout specifically, I want to give my players a sandbox. I want to give them the plot hooks, the different quests that they can find, but basically I want them to go out there and explore and play and do what they want to do. That has always been a thing with Fallout. You go out and you do. And so that is exactly what I'm giving them. I'm giving them pretty much the entire Tampa Bay area, up to about Tarpon Springs, down to about Apollo Beach, to explore. It's all open for them to explore, with hundreds of locations, hundreds more unmarked locations, and making up new enemies, making them region specific, radgators, burrowing boas, skunk ape is going to be a thing. And then setting up factions, different raider gangs, religions, like the Children of Adam. Like in Fallout 4, I have something kind of similar, but they're kind of also like the Dark Brotherhood from Skyrim. They're assassins. And I've put in so much work, and it's still not ready. I've been working on this for 2 months, and it's still not ready for me to do a session 1. We've done the 0 session. We have not done a session 1. Even though I don't have to worry about them seeing the rest of the world, because they're starting in a vault. They're not going to see the rest of the world for at least 2 or 3 sessions, because we've all got to get used to the system. It's a new system for us. It's a 2D20 system. They're not going to see the rest of the world for about 2 to 3 sessions. So it's a lot of work that I could be doing behind the scenes. But again, also, like I've mentioned, I'm dealing with a lot of personal life things. Life happens. I mean, COVID was a big hit for DnD in terms of in-person play, which is how we like to do it. Our group is all pretty much agreed that in-person is the best way to go. But we still have, Rava now lives in a different state. The pirate captain now lives in a different state. So we're able to get things going, but it's not the same as it was. Like last night we were playing Loke's new campaign, and Rava joined for the first time, and there are just technical difficulties. She was having internet issues and issues with talking over each other. It's harder to hear the electronic voice than it is the voice that's right next to you. So the group aspect is what draws me to D&D now. As a kid, it was the adventure, it was the fun, it was the rolling of the dice, the clicky clacks, the slaying of monsters. Now it's the interactions between the friends, the side conversations, the hey, how was so and so? What did you do last week? That kind of stuff. That really drives me to continue to play, and also to build this world with Fallout, and try and get back into DMing, because I want the players to have that, but I also want to give them the best experience that I can in game, based on an IP that a lot of us love. Felix is pretty much brand new to it. We've got another guy who just rejoined us because he was off doing monster truck things, and his name, I think we've established as Ron the farmer. He rejoined our group, and having him there has been excellent. And I have people that I talk to that we played with that have moved across the U.S., across the world, and I still talk to them about D&D. I mean, we're talking to all of you. Every 2 weeks, we talk to all of you about D&D because we all love this game, and it's just a big group, lovely community that the rules, the adventures, the quests, the modules, all the work all of these individuals put out, which again is a terrible thing that Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro are doing to their own employees. This all has facilitated a lovely family. And it really is that. It's a family, because families don't always get along. You've always got the uncle that doesn't agree with the niece. They have different ideologies, different views. But in the end, you're family. And you're going to sit down, and you're going to have a meal together, and you're going to have fun. And that's what D&D is to me. Yeah. So this was an odd one, a little short solo episode. Kind of a get to know Bolgg's perspective, why I think the way I do, why I'm not too worried about what's going to happen with D&D, because D&D will be around. Long after Wizards of the Coast is shut down, D&D will be around because we are D&D. We are the heart and soul. We are the community that drives it. And 5e, whether or not the 2024 books sell well or whatever, 5e will still be around. 4th edition will still be around. 3.5, 3, 2, 1, OG. They will all still be there for us to play because we will all still be here to play them, barring any kind of disaster on a global scale. But yeah, that's my episode. Maybe I'll do another one of these in the future if I get some, get some love. So definitely, if you enjoy it, like, subscribe, comment, all the regular stuff. Send us any requests for episodes, any topics you want us to cover, any issues that you might have at your table. By all means, send them to us. We love answering those. It was, 2 weeks ago we got to do an older type video, and we really enjoyed it. Going back and doing the thing, what we got started with. We became a news channel, and it kind of burnt us out. But going back and doing that was a lot of fun. So please send us your questions, your comments, your concerns. You can do that on the Facebook page, which is Facebook Bolgg and PC. Let's see. Yes, Facebook Bolgg and PC, and then we've also got the email. You can email it to us, bolgandpc@gmail.com. Comment right here on the video. Right here in the video. If you're listening to us on podcast, thank you so much for still using the podcast. We will continue to do this as long as we possibly can. I mean, things went sideways the past couple of weeks, and yet here I am still making a video just for you guys, making a podcast just for you guys. In a hot ass house. I mean, it's 85 right now. Jesus. Inside the house. Outside it's like 92. Me and my poor dog are melting. But I'm here. I'm doing the content. Even though I've got stuff I need to do for a new job coming up. I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice at my current job this week. The day I finish some things, I'm putting in my 2 week notice. But it's, it's an honor to, talk to you guys. So while I may play a big dumb orc, and I may sometimes emulate that big dumb orc by being big and dumb myself, I really appreciate all of you that have listened and been with us. And yeah, thank you for being a part of the D&D family. Thank you for being a part of our family, being part of the crew here on Recipes for Everything. So thank you. Until the next adventure. Bye, Bolgg.